Hi Logic students, this is the second video on section 6.1. We left off at this example. We were practicing symbolizations and we were working on, we weren't really working on it just yet. We just looked at this slightly longer example. I will give you a ride if you ask nicely, but I won't allow you to smoke in my car or leave garbage in it. So how do you go about symbolizing a statement like this one? Basically, you have to follow a method, and the method is always the same. First, you look at the whole thing. You ask yourself, what is it? What is the main logical operator here? Is this statement a negation, a conjunction, that is an and statement, a disjunction, that is an either-or statement, a conditional, that is an if-then statement, or a biconditional, that is an if and only if statement. These are the only possibilities. Remember that you can have simple statements, or you can have statements where the main logical operator is the tilde, or the dot, or the wedge, or the horseshoe, or the triple bar. So really, you have 5 choices, 5 possibilities. So in this statement, I'll give you a ride if you ask nicely, but I won't allow you to smoke in my car or leave garbage in it. What is the main logical operator? And I think if you look at the whole thing, you will realize that the purpose of this statement is to assert 2 things. I will give you a ride if you ask nicely, but I won't allow you to smoke in my car or leave garbage in it. So the form of the statement is this, but not that. The main operator here is but, and you know from the book that but is a stylistic variant for and. So the main operator here is the dot. What you want to do in your symbolization then is to put down the dot first. And not very pretty, but there it is. And then you want to go to work on the 2 sides. So you know that this is a conjunction of 2 statements. What is the first element of the conjunction? I will give you a ride if you ask nicely. So clearly this is a conditional statement. If you ask nicely, then I will give you a ride. So you put down the horseshoe, and then you put the if part to the left of the horseshoe. If you ask nicely, so A for you ask nicely. And I will give you a ride, that's the then part, so R. And you want to keep it together in parentheses. Now for the second part, I won't allow you to smoke in my car or leave garbage in it. You have to sort of ask yourself what is being said here. This is basically saying that it's not the case that I will allow you to smoke in my car or leave garbage in it. I'm not allowing to do either one of the 2 things. I won't allow you to smoke, and I won't allow you to leave garbage in my car. So the best way to symbolize this is to say it's not the case that I will allow you to smoke in my car, or I will allow you to leave garbage in it. This is the best symbolization for this statement. Notice that basically the second part is a neither nor. I won't allow you to smoke. I will neither allow you to smoke, nor will I allow you to leave garbage in my car. So you could even have said not S and not G. I will not allow you to smoke, and I will not allow you to leave garbage. So these 2 are 2 different ways to say the same thing. It is important to know that not S or G and not S and not G are equivalent to each other. An important skill that you have to have in symbolization is the ability to express neither nor and to distinguish it from not both. So let's see how that works. I think you can see that neither nor is different in meaning from not both. If you say neither Bob nor Amy was at the party, you mean that he wasn't there and she wasn't there. You go to the party and you don't see Bob, you don't see Amy either. They're not there. Neither one is. But if you say Bob and Amy were not both at the party, that simply means that they were not there together, but that leaves it open that maybe he was there without her or she was there without him. The point is only that they were not both there, but one of them could have been there. So the meaning is different. How do you symbolize neither Bob nor Amy was at the party? Well, the simplest way is to consider this statement to mean Bob was not at the party, so not B, and Amy was not at the party. So that's one way to symbolize neither Bob nor Amy was at the party. The other way would be to say it's not the case that either one was there. Either Bob was at the party or Amy was at the party. These two statements are equivalent to each other. They mean exactly the same thing. And I think you can see in the textbook that there was a British logician, Augustus de Morgan, who discovered this equivalence. And so the equivalence between not B and not A and not B or A is called one of De Morgan's laws. The other De Morgan's law is the equivalence between the two ways to symbolize Bob and Amy were not both at the party. If you say Bob and Amy were not both at the party, then probably the simplest way to think about it is that it's not the case that Bob was at the party and Amy was at the party. So it's false that they were both there. It's false that Bob was there and Amy was there. And this is equivalent to either he wasn't there, either Bob was not at the party, or Amy was not at the party. Again, these two are equivalent to each other. Not B and A is equivalent to not B or not A. And this is the other one of De Morgan's laws. So pay attention to this because there are lots of examples in the homework concerning the symbolization of neither nor versus not both. There are two more important things about section 6.1, and I wanted to touch upon them. One important thing is stylistic variance. So you have to remember that there are many different ways to say, for example, and, or, if, and so forth. These little words that we use as logical operators, in English, you can express them in several different ways. So you have to be aware, just like in the previous example. Remember, we encountered the word but, which is a stylistic variant for and. The textbook has a nice box that summarizes all this. So you can see the different ways to say not, different ways to say and, different ways to say or, and so on and so forth. So be familiar with these stylistic variants. The other important point that I wanted to bring to your attention is how to symbolize statements that contain the words only if. This is something that always throws off students, so we need to be prepared for it. Some students treat only if as if it were if and only if, so they use the triple bar. So they would symbolize the car will start only if there's gas in the tank in this way. But this is wrong because only if is not if and only if. You use a triple bar only when you see the whole expression if and only if. But you don't have it here. You have only if alone. So this symbolization will not work. Some students will treat only if as if it were if. And so they would symbolize the car will start only if there's gas in the tank as if there's gas in the tank, then the car will start. But this too is incorrect. Think about it for a second. The car will start only if there's gas in the tank is true. It's necessary for there to be something for the engine to burn in order for the car to start. But this symbolization says if there's gas in the tank, that's enough for the car to start, and that's false. Right now, you're probably not driving, so your car is parked somewhere, and there's gas in the tank, probably, but the engine doesn't start just because there's gas in the tank. So to say the car will start only if there's gas in the tank doesn't mean that if there's gas in the tank, the car will start. What it means is that if the car starts, then there must have been gas in the tank. So the correct symbolization of the car will start only if there's gas in the tank is if the car starts, then there's gas in the tank. Essentially, only if is a stylistic variant for then in if ... then. Any only if statement is a conditional where only if introduces the consequent and the other part is the antecedent. So you have to read the car will start only if there's gas in the tank as if the car starts, then there must have been gas in the tank. So remember, only if introduces the consequent, the then part of a conditional.